welcome to Sarah's Stampin' Retreat. Today I'm going to create 3 cards using our gorgeous metallic wow embossing powders. So I've got the copper SuperFine, the polished silver SuperFine and the polished gold SuperFine. And this die from In Love Arts, which is a really nice happy birthday to you card front die. And I'm going to show you how we can use those in different ways to create 3 lovely cards. So the first card I'm going to make is a 5x5 inch card, and we're going to be using navy. So I've got this card front. So this is again 5x5 inches, and I'm going to cover this with my wow embossing ink. So I'm just applying that straight from the pad. So then I'm going to create an ombre effect on here with my metallic embossing powders. So I'm going to pour the copper on first. I'm just pouring it along the one side and then tipping it so it creates a nice line across my card. So then next I'm going to go in with the gold, and I'm going to pour that onto the middle section. And you don't need to worry because it won't stick where the copper is, so you don't need to worry about going over that a little bit. And then I'm going to cover the bottom with the silver. So then we've got this gorgeous kind of ombre metallic panel, really pretty. So then I'm going to use our die to cut from that. So then I'm going to push these pieces out, and I'm going to save them in this pot for another card. So then we're going to use this to make a cool shaker card. So then I want to make this into a shaker card. So I've got some of these micro sticky dots. I'm going to put this on here. And then I'm going to smooth that over. And then what I'm going to do is add this piece of acetate onto the back of it. So then I'm going to pop these pieces that belong in the middle of the letters through my sticker maker. So a sticker maker just adds sticky onto the back. So there are a couple of things you could do if you don't have a sticker maker. One is to add some double-sided tape sheet to the back of this before you die cut it, and then everything will have the sticky on the back already. The reason I've not done that is it can be a little bit more difficult to die cut it then, because obviously it's getting through the layer of cardstock, the layer of embossing powder and the layer of sticky. So you should be able to get through it, but you might need to run it through a few more times. Or you could add them onto a sheet of sticky dots, or just use glue. I prefer these ways of adding sticky on the back purely because I think it can sometimes get a bit messy if you're trying to do it with normal glue. So then I'm going to add these pieces back onto here. And you can also use these as a guide if you want to get kind of an exact match and you don't want to do it by eye. You can kind of put that back in, pop these in, and then pull that back out again. And then you know they're exactly where they need to be. But they are fairly easy to do by eye. So then I'm adding some shaker foam around the outside of this. And with the shaker foam, because it's going to keep in our shaker pieces, we need it butted right up against each other so that nothing's got any room to fall out. So then I've got this little sequin mix, and I've got this calamari earth sparkles from Wow as well, which is their biodegradable glitter. So I'm going to add in a bit of that as well, that gorgeous kind of champagne-y type colour. So then I'm just going to add some powder to the back of this just to make sure that it's kind of not sticking anywhere that I don't want it. And then I'm going to stick this over here. And then we've got this really cool metallic shaker card. So then for my next card, I thought that I would do a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card. So I've cut this from just navy blue cardstock, but I'm only going to use the pieces above this line. So I'm going to use the happy and the birthday, but not the 2 and the U. And I'm only going to use the cutout pieces. I'm not going to use the outline. So I'm going to save the insides of these pieces because I want to use them on the next card. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat emboss these letters. I'm going to use all 3 metallic colours again. So I'm going to add some tape, sticky side up to here. You can see I've just rolled the edges under so that it stays in place. And then I'm going to stick a few letters on here. So I'm going to do the H, and then from the little one I'm going to do the I, the H, and the Y. And then I'm going to do one of the stars as well. And then once they're on there, then I'm going to just pop on some of my embossing buddy. And that just takes some of the stick off the tape and makes those ready for heat embossing, because although the Wow embossing powders are anti-static, I've touched these lots. They've probably got oils from my hands on them. So then I'm just going to turn this upside down in here. And then I'm going to go with the copper embossing powder first. So I'm just going to pour the copper onto there. And because we've got it stuck on here, it stops us from having to mess about with these tiny bits and heat emboss them individually. And then those come off really nicely. I'm going to leave them on there just to keep them all together for now. And I'm going to repeat that process with the other pieces. So there's our silver ones. You do waste a small amount of the embossing powder, but honestly the amount is so tiny you'll barely notice, and it's so much easier than trying to fiddle about with all those tiny pieces, heat embossing them individually. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this over here so that we can use this as a template for where to put our pieces. So I'm actually just going to tape this down at the back, and then I know it's going to stay in place. And then I'm going to add some foam strips to the back of the big letters, because I think it'd be fun to have those popping up. So then I'm going to pop that in there. And then I'm going to pop the rest of these pieces through my sticker maker again. And then I can put these smaller bits into the correct places on here. This piece of cardstock, the blue by the way, is 4.5 by 3 1/4 inches. So then I've got this piece of gold cardstock that's just 1/8 of an inch bigger than that I'm going to pop that onto. And then I'm going to add some foam strips behind here. And then we've got that second card, which I think is really nice. So then for my third card, I'm basically just going to use up the leftovers from the other cards. So I've got the outline from the blue one that I cut the letters from. And I've got a piece of gold cardstock that's 1/8 of an inch bigger than that I'm going to glue it onto. And then I'm going to use these ombre pieces that we cut out from the first card. And again, I'm going to pop those pieces up on some fine strips. I think the extra dimension just really makes it a bit more special. And so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed these smaller letters and the stars through my sticker maker, and I'm also going to feed through the waste of the letters that I saved from the just plain navy one that we cut. I don't think they make this sticker maker anymore. This one's really old, but I'll link something similar below, because I know everyone's always really interested in this. It is a really useful thing to have. So then I can add all these in. And then I can go in and fill in these gaps in the letters with that waste from the blue die cut. Then that's really gorgeous. And then we're just going to glue that onto our card front to finish. So then look how pretty that is. So then we've got our 3 cards. We've got the shaker, we've got this one that uses the leftovers from this and from this, and we've got this one where we've used our die cut that's supposed to be a square on a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch card. So we only actually had to cut the die twice to make the 3 cards, and then we've just used our basic metallic embossing powders. So I think this is a really nice way to stretch your supplies. We've used 1 die and 3 embossing powders, and we've got 3 gorgeous cards. So I really hope that you've enjoyed today's video. Do let me know in the comments below which is your favourite card. If you enjoyed today's video, I'd really appreciate you clicking like below, and you can also press subscribe if you'd like to see future videos. All of the products that I've used for today's cards are listed in the description below, and you can also find a link there to the blog where you can find a picture supply list if that helps you find what you're looking for. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon.